Hey guys, Ivan here, and today I'm here with the Ghostrick Decklist. So this is my friend's deck, so huge shout out to him. So yeah, there are a few things special about Ghostricks. Ghostrick monsters have an effect that they cannot be normal summoned if there is not another Ghostrick monster on the field. Also, Ghostrick monsters have effects that they can once per turn flip face down. So now that basics of Ghostrick monsters are set, let's start with our first playset of Ghostrick Doll. Effect of Ghostrick Doll says that once per turn when she is flipped face up, at the end of the end phase, turn all the face up monsters face down and search your deck for a Ghostrick monster whose level is less than or equal to the number of monsters which were flipped face down. So that means that, for example, on my opponent's turn I have Ghostrick Doll set face down and my opponent decides to attack it. She first flips, then goes to the graveyard, and at the end phase she flips all of my opponent's monsters face down and allows me to search. Next there's Ghostrick Ghoul. Effect of Ghostrick Ghoul says that I can, let me check. So once per turn I can target one Ghostrick monster on the field, and it gains the combined attack of all Ghostrick monsters on the field. So that means that, for example, if I had Ghostrick Ghoul, three Ghostrick Dolls, let me just check. Okay. So, for example, I target Ghostrick Doll. So, this Ghostrick Doll gains attack of all of my other Ghostrick monsters, which means that she gains 1700 attack and she is a 2000 attack monster until the end of my opponent's next end phase. So that is a pretty good effect, but only the Ghostrick Doll I targeted can attack. Then after Ghostrick Ghoul, there is 3 copies of Ghostrick Jackfrost, and this is the first in the line of hand traps. For example, if my opponent attacks me directly, I can set Ghostrick Jackfrost face down and flip my opponent's monster into the face down defense position. That's basically why Jackfrost is used. Then there are 3 Ghostrick Jiangshis. Ghostrick Jiangshi allows me to search Ghostrick monsters with its effect. So once Jiangshi is flipped face up, I can search for a Ghostrick monster whose level is less than or equal to the number of Ghostrick monsters flipped face up. Next, there are 3 copies of Ghostrick Lantern. Ghostrick Lantern is an, let's say, upgraded version of Jackfrost. He's also a hand trap, and when my opponent targets for an attack my Ghostrick monster or decides to attack me directly, I can special summon Ghostrick Lantern in the face down defense position and negate the attack. So that's a pretty good effect. Then there's Ghostrick Mummy. Ghostrick Mummy allows me one addition summon for a Ghostrick monster next to my normal summon. Then there are 2 Ghostrick Nekomamuses. What Ghostrick Nekomamusa does is that is it once per turn or is it? No, it just says when a level 4 or higher monster is normal or special summoned, I can flip it face down into the face down defense position. I can only use her effect while I control another Ghostrick monster. So for example, I have Nekomamusa and Ghoul, and my opponent normal summons, let's say, I don't know, okay, I won't go with something bizarre, but let's say my opponent summons a Judgment Dragon. With Nekomamusa's effect, I can flip the Judgment Dragon face down on its summon. Then there are just 2 Ghostrick Skeletons. What Ghostrick Skeleton does is when he is flipped face up, I can banish cards from the top of my opponent's deck. I can banish face down cards from the top of my opponent's deck equal to the number of Ghostrick monsters I control on the field at that moment. Next, there's Ghostrick Spectre. He is also a hand trap. So once my Ghostrick monster is destroyed, I can special summon this card from my hand. Let me just check if that's right. Yeah, I can, yeah, and if it's sent to the graveyard, I can special summon this card from my hand in face down defense position and draw a card. So I can potentially draw Ghostrick Jackfrost or Ghostrick Lantern to negate other attacks. Also, the Ghostrick monster does not have to be destroyed by battle, it can also be destroyed by the effect. Then there's Ghostrick Stein. Ghostrick Stein is a card which allows me to draw a card once it inflicts a battle damage to my opponent. And that's that for monsters. I will not be showing any tactics how to use this deck in this video because I plan to do well, it will be a YGO Pro video with duels on Ghostrick deck. I hope I will post that next week, maybe the week after that, depending on how my schedule works out. But video will be coming out in next couple of weeks surely. So for my spells I run 2 copies of Allure of Darkness. Since all the Ghostrick monsters are dark, I can risk to banish one of them to draw another 2 cards. Then there's Ghostrick Mansion. Effective Mansion says that if both me and my opponent, if I control all face down defense position monsters, my opponent can attack me directly, as well as I can attack him directly if all his face down monsters are in face down defense position. Also, I can, by using Ghostrick Mansion, all effect damage and battle damage dealt to whether me or my opponent is halved, except for battle damage or effect damage dealt by Ghostrick monsters. Next card is Ghostrick Museum. What Ghostrick Museum does is the same part as Ghostrick Mansion about attacking directly, but all monsters which deal damage to either me or my opponent are flipped face down at the end of the damage step. So you cannot wait till the end of the battle phase to do something. You have to flip them down in the what's called damage step. Next there's Ghostrick Parade, and this card has the same part about attacking directly, but it allows me to draw a card each time my opponent declares a direct attack. So I can potentially draw Ghostrick Lantern to negate the attack or Ghostrick Jackfrost to negate the attack. Also, all damage my opponent takes is reduced to 0. Then there's 2 instant fusions. I'll explain why I use these later. They are mainly Xyz material. Then there's Level Limit Area B. This deck works on stalling against my opponent until you potentially deal enough damage, or until your opponent loses all cards in his deck thanks to Ghostrick, thanks to Ghostrick Skeleton. Then there is a copy of Messenger of Peace, another stalling card. So monsters with 1500 attack or more cannot attack, and I have to pay 100 life points during my standby phase to keep this card active. Then there are 2 Mystical Space Typhoons, which could be replaced with Twin Twister if I had one, but okay. Then there's 1 Terraforming to search out field spells, Mansion, Museum and Parade. Then we go to traps. First is Ghostrick Go Round, a trap which can be used only in battle phase. It has 2 effects. First of the effects says that I can target a Ghostrick monster I control, flip it face down, and flip one of my opponent's face down. Just a second, let me check this. Yeah, and change one of my opponent's face down defense position monsters to face up attack position. A second effect of it says that I can target one face down defense position monster I control, And if it's a Ghostrick monster, well, I have to change it to the face-up position, face-up attack position. And if it's a Ghostrick, I get to flip one of my opponent's monsters into the face-down defense position. Then there are 2 copies of Ghostrick Knight. This card says that while I control a Ghostrick monster, my opponent cannot flip summon. Also, when this card is destroyed, that turn my opponent cannot declare an attack. Yeah, for the rest of the turn. Then Ghostrick Scare. This card allows me to flip all of my monsters, flip all of my face-down monsters into the face-up position. Does it have to be face-up defense position? And for each of the Ghostricks I flipped face-up, I get to flip one of my opponent's monsters face-down. Then there are 2 copies of Ghostrick Vanish. This card says that by revealing one Ghostrick monster in my hand, my opponent cannot, my Ghostrick monsters and face-down defense position monsters cannot be destroyed by or targeted by card effects. So this is kind of a protection trap. And then there are 2 copies of Needle Sealing. What Needle Sealing does is that when there are 4 or more monsters on the field, I can, I can destroy all face-up monsters. So my Ghostricks are mostly face-down during my opponent's turn. I activate this on his turn, destroy all his face-up monsters. And that's it for the main deck. Now for the extra deck, there are some cards which are used for nothing more than summoning the main boss of this deck. So I will not go over effects of those cards. I will go over effects only of Ghostrick, what are they called? Only of Ghostrick Xyz monsters, and there are no synchros here. So first, a card which surprises everyone, Thousand Eyes Restrict. He is one of the targets for instant fusion. Main reason for using Thousand Eyes Restrict is to later on summon Ghostrick Xyz monsters and go into their main boss. Also, it has a cool effect of taking my opponent's monster. Then there's Zombie Warrior, also used as Xyz material. Then there is another card which I believe I can use to overlay over. That's Digital Bug Corbage. I don't know its effect, I have never summoned it and I don't think I ever will. Then there are 2 copies of Ghostrick Alucard. Alucard is obviously a Ghostrick monster. I can detach one Xyz material from Alucard to destroy one of my opponent's set cards. It doesn't have to be a spell or trap, so I can destroy even a set monster. Also, once Alucard is sent to the graveyard, I can add to my hand one Ghostrick card. Not monster, a card. So I can add back, for example, Ghostrick Scare to flip one of my opponent's monsters. Well, not one. To flip my opponent's monsters face down. Maybe Ghostrick Knight to disable my opponent from flip summoning. Maybe Ghostrick Vanish to be able to protect my Ghostricks. Depending on the situation, you choose a different card. Then there's 2 Ghostrick Angels of Mischief. So Angel of Mischief is summoned by summoning it over Alucard or other, low level Xyz monsters. So what Angel of Mischief says is that I can detach a material to search a Ghostrick spell or trap card from my deck and add it to my hand. So I can search field spells or traps with her. Also, she has an Exodia type insta-win condition, and that is if she has 10 materials, I instantly win the duel. Also, the way she gains more materials is that I can once per turn attach one Ghostrick monster to it as an Xyz material. Then there are 3 Ghostrick Dullahans. What Dullahan does is he enables me, by detaching from Dullahan one Xyz material, I can halve one of my opponent's face-up monsters' attack. Also, when it's sent to the graveyard, I can target the Ghostrick card and add it to my hand. So exactly as Alucard. Then there's Ghostrick So Cute Boss. What So Cute Boss does is I can detach a material and then target one face-up monster in the field with attack less than or equal to the combined attack of all Ghostrick monsters on the field and destroy it. You almost never use her effect, you just use her for overlaying to the Angel of Mischief. So let me just check. Yeah. and the monster zone in which monster was destroyed cannot be used until as long as I have a Ghostrick monster on the field. So that's nice. And there are just 3 more monsters used for overlaying into Angel of Mischief. So yeah, that will be all for this deck list. I hope that I will be able to post. Yeah, my tongue is a bit twisted today. I hope to be able to release another video with Ghostrick deck duels with it next weekend. But yeah, maybe there will be a Maximum Crisis opening. I hope I will be able to record it. If not, yeah, I will see. But until the next video, see you next time, I guess.